Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're stepping right into the squared circle to break down an absolute masterclass in chaos. We're looking at the explosive no-holds-barred tag match from Extreme Rules 2019. Picture this. A packed house in Philadelphia, literally electric with anticipation. You've got two absolute powerhouses, Roman Reigns and The Undertaker, joining forces to take on the ruthless duo of Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. I am so pumped to walk you through exactly how this matchup devolved into sheer pandemonium and why it really remains a legendary piece of sports entertainment.
But, before the opening bell even rings, you gotta ask yourself, how in the world do you survive a no-holds-barred 3-on-1 assault? Keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this, because what starts out as a traditional tag team match is gonna morph into an absolute fight for survival. And honestly, that fight totally defines the entire middle and end of this bout.
All right, let's establish the ground rules really quick. In a no-holds-barred tag match, there are absolutely no disqualifications, 0 countouts. Now, competitors do still have to tag in and out to get a pinfall or submission, but that lack of disqualifications, that means outside interference isn't just a possibility, it is 100% legal. And as you'll see, that specific loophole is the exact hinge this whole match turns on.
So we are looking at a massive clash of styles here. On one side, Reigns and The Undertaker. They represent this incredibly inspirational, tenacious power, combined with literally the most methodical, pure striking in the history of the WWE. Going up against them, you've got McIntyre, who fancies himself this sadistic hybrid athlete taking the best of every generation, teamed up with Shane McMahon's totally unpredictable opportunism. It's raw power and legacy facing off against vicious agility and calculated risk. And that dynamic kicks off Act 1. As The Undertaker so chillingly put it, "You're a victim of your own greed and ego, Shane." Right out of the gate, Reigns and Undertaker execute a flawless strategy. They just completely dominate the opening minutes by isolating Shane McMahon, forcing the self-proclaimed best in the world to just eat punishment. At the same time, they use some brilliant preventative offense to keep the menacing and fresh Drew McIntyre stranded out on the apron. Psychologically, this is genius. It pops the crowd by punishing the arrogant bad guy while keeping the actual, physical threat totally neutralized. Man, the sheer physical dominance of the Deadman early on was just something to behold. The commentators were absolutely stunned by his speed and superhuman agility right from the jump. He wasn't just methodical, he was moving full speed ahead. I mean, he even went old school on Shane, walking the top rope to drop a devastating strike. And when Drew McIntyre finally did try to get involved, The Undertaker easily manhandled the much younger Scottish psychopath, just dropping him kidney first right onto that unforgiving ring apron. Total, undeniable dominance.
But hey, in a match with absolutely no rules, dominance is pretty fragile. The momentum violently shifts the exact moment Drew McIntyre sadistically uses the outside environment to his advantage, driving Roman Reigns face first right into the steel steps. From there, it's a textbook villainous takeover. McIntyre and McMahon use frequent tags, keeping fresh legs in the ring and keeping their bodies physically between Reigns and his corner. This kind of isolation, it generates massive crowd heat. Reigns is completely cut off, taking a horrific beating, while The Undertaker can only pace helplessly on the apron. It's tough to watch.
So the tension in the arena is at an absolute boiling point when Roman finally secures that desperately needed hot tag. That tag is structurally crucial. It's the emotional peak of the rescue. The Undertaker storms in, just throwing Shane McMahon around like a pinball. But here's the thing, he isn't just looking for a pinfall, he wants a burial. The Undertaker ominously heads out to the floor and starts meticulously clearing off the entire announce table. You can practically see the wheels turning in his head. He is fully preparing to use the environment to permanently destroy Shane.
But wait, remember those rules we talked about? No disqualifications. Watch how this perfectly executed trap is sprung, literally minute by minute. Just as The Undertaker sets up his assault, Elias, who, remember, has an alliance with Shane, suddenly blindsides The Undertaker with a guitar. Perfectly legal. Within a minute, McIntyre follows that up with a massive Claymore kick to Reigns, taking him entirely out of the equation. Then, in a truly chilling sequence, Elias and McIntyre drag a defenseless Undertaker onto that very same announce table, pinning him down while Shane McMahon soars through the air, delivering a sickening elbow drop that just shatters the table into a million pieces.
As the broadcasters noted while looking over all that wreckage, the message was loud and clear. You don't meddle in McMahon family business. Shane's motivation here was deeply personal and just entirely ruthless. He used every single available asset,
including bringing in Elias from the outside to orchestrate this brutal beatdown. And after that elbow drop, the Deadman is left completely motionless on the arena floor. He's the victim of a highly calculated 3-on-1 mugging.
The suspense at this point is seriously suffocating. McIntyre and Elias drag The Undertaker's lifeless body back into the ring and literally prop him up in the corner with a trash can. Shane McMahon, looking for the ultimate level of disrespect, climbs the turnbuckle on the exact opposite side of the ring. He's got that 1,000-yard stare going, preparing to leap across the entire length of the ring to deliver his signature coast-to-coast maneuver, right into the face of the greatest to ever do it. So, it all comes down to this crucial point, as Shane literally leaps into the air, with Roman Reigns completely taken out and The Undertaker battered beyond recognition. Is the Deadman really done? I really want you to let the sheer hopelessness of that 3-on-1 advantage sink in for just a second.
Because right as Shane McMahon is flying across the ring, the impossible happens. The resurrection. The Undertaker miraculously sits straight up. Shane just crashes and burns. Then, with a sudden, chilling throat slash, the momentum is completely reversed. The crowd in Philadelphia absolutely erupts as the Deadman rises back to his feet. It is deafening.
And just like that, the third act explodes into breathless action. Elias tries to rush in and make the save, but The Undertaker intercepts him right in the middle of the ring, grabs him by the throat, and sends him for the absolute ride of his life with a massive choke slam.
But wait, right behind him, Drew McIntyre is already lining up for a final lethal Claymore kick. He charges full speed at The Undertaker's blind spot, but out of absolutely nowhere, Roman Reigns heroically rushes back into the frame, flying across the ring to intercept McIntyre with a colossal rib-cracking spear. What a save!
So now, the ring is totally cleared. Every bit of that outside interference has been neutralized. The Undertaker drags a broken Shane McMahon right to the center of the ring, hoists him up onto his shoulders, and delivers his vintage, iconic tombstone piledriver. He crosses the arms, the ref counts to 3, and that is it. It's over.
As the bell rings, the absolute shock and awe coming from the broadcast booth perfectly captures the moment. Who said the dead man's done? The energy of that capacity crowd was just electric. They knew they had just witnessed an unforgettable, miraculous comeback against odds that seemed completely impossible and totally unfair.
Now, as the dust settles, we get this truly beautiful, thematic conclusion. Let's bring the tempo down for a second and just appreciate the storytelling here. Roman Reigns, the undisputed powerhouse of the modern era, willingly steps out onto the apron and just gives up the ring entirely to The Undertaker. It's this profound show of respect, and it beautifully mirrors the passing of the torch they actually started years prior at WrestleMania. This wasn't just a victory for them, it was a true acknowledgement of legacy.
The broadcast closed out with a line that I think perfectly summarizes the emotional weight of everything we just explored. The Undertaker may be the dead man, but you are looking at a living legend. See, this explainer isn't just about the X's and O's of a wrestling match. It's really about witnessing the athletic prowess and the enduring psychology of one of the greatest performers of all time, standing tall when the deck is completely stacked against him.
And that leaves us with one final thought to ponder today. As you look back at the structure of this match, the insane interference, that miraculous comeback, and the ultimate show of respect at the very end, in a constantly evolving landscape of sports entertainment, will we ever witness a display of pure, generational storytelling quite like this again? Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown. Keep asking questions, keep analyzing the chaos, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.